This is Space Sketcher, my DES105 game. Let's give it a look. So here is the main menu. I am recording this without audio from my MacBook, so you won't be able to hear audio for this, but the game does have audio, and there's even a volume slider that you can use to adjust it. If we click on info here, so the premise of the game is that you are sending a message to aliens using a kind of esoteric drawing tablet, a bit like an Etch-a-Sketch. So if we go into the game itself, so I've got this little ball I can control, and I can turn it off, I can turn it on and off, which causes it to start ejecting ink and making marks on the page. And we've got this timer up in the corner to sort of hurry you along. So yeah, you kind of have to make marks on the page by swinging your ball around in certain patterns. So yeah, got a nice curve there. If I drag this down here, get a nose, and then and if I just get a beautiful smiley face there. I've got 3 seconds left just to admire our work, and look at that. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. So yeah, we've got that return button that takes you straight back to the main menu as it was before. Other notable features are that the game has a pause menu, so you can see the physics, the timer have all stopped now, and if I resume, they get going again. And also, it's a little hard to see, but the ball has this sort of jittery, swirly idle animation to it, and also it has these, as a part of the animation, it has these particles below it that appear when it's sitting still, but if I move it around a bunch, they disappear, so it's like drips coming down from the object itself. So in terms of the construction of the game, we'll start off with how the drawing tool itself is constructed. So that green line you saw between the handle and the paintbrush is made up of these little link sprites, which have hinge joint 2Ds attached to them. So this acts as a link between each part of the chain. So one goes to the rigid body of another, and then it keeps going like that until you have something like a rope which can sort of bend and twist around itself. So here we have the script for instantiating the rope. So the basic way that this one works is it takes a predefined, it runs a for loop for predefined variable for the number of links we want to have, which I think, if I check back here, is 5. Yeah, 5. So it runs that 5 times, and for each one, it instantiates a new one. It gets that new link's hinge joint 2D component, and then it attaches it to the rigid body of the last one in the chain. And we've also got the last link in the chain, which I found if I put an invisible link and just overlaid it over the paintbrush as a sort of hidden part of the chain, that made the movement run much more smoothly and just less glitchy overall. Then the next one we've got is this handle script. This one is attached to this big red ball, and it's the thing that allows you to drag it around. So this script, it uses this function here, world to screen point, to get the coordinates of the spot where the player is clicking, and then uses that to create an offset, which is the distance between the point where the mouse is clicking and the center of the draggable object, in this case the handle. So it does this just to make the experience of dragging the thing a lot smoother. So it's you're able to drag it from any point you like, and it won't just immediately snap to the middle of your mouse, so it feels a bit more smooth that way. In terms of other control consistency features, we have this script here, which this one handles the maximum distance from the handle to the paintbrush. So it's a consistent bit of bugginess in this game that if the paintbrush starts to get too far away from the handle, the chain starts to break and funny, undesirable things start happening. So this is here to prevent that. So that's length between handle position, which is calculated here, and then game object dot transform dot position, which is just going to be the position of the paintbrush, and then magnitude. We're using mathf.abs on that, so that if it's a negative number, it converts it to a positive one. So that gives us a positive number for the amount of distance between the two, and then if that variable is higher than the specified max length that the distance between the two can be, it'll just snap it back into place. So here, gameObject.transform position equals handle position dot length plus length between dot normalized times max length. So the maximum length in whatever direction it's being stretched, it'll just stop there. This one also has the job of recording the speed and then sending that off to the animator. So this is the animation window for the paintbrush object. It has two states that it switches between, one with the kind of droplet animation and one without. And they switch between those two depending on this speed parameter. So if it's less than this specified amount, which is 0.05, it'll transfer into the droplet animation, which is labeled slow. And if it goes above that, it'll transfer back into its non-droplet state. So the last big script for the brush tool is the main script for the paintbrush. So this one takes this main variable brushes on and also brushes on previous, which is the state of brushes on last frame. So this gets reset at the end of every update loop, and it uses that to track what the line renderer on the paintbrush should be doing. So if it's currently turned on, it checks if it was on previously, and if it wasn't, then it creates a new one, and if it was on previously, then it just adds a new point to the line renderer and continues the line that it's currently drawing. And if it detects that it's deactivated, then it gives it the deactivated colors and cuts the line renderer short. So here, add point function, this adds a new point to the line renderer, and it adds a new point to the line renderer at the current position of the brush. So that's continuing the line. In terms of other scripts, it's mostly miscellaneous stuff. The volume tracker is this itsy bitsy script that's just designed to take the volume variable and bring it into the main scene, because it gets originated in the options menu, which is in the main menu. So that takes this one variable, which gets set in another script, and it has this little note to say don't destroy it when it goes into the main scene. So that's the only script in the program that's able to persist between scenes. As for the main menu itself, this is mostly miscellaneous stuff. It's setting the resolution, it's updating, getting the volume value from the slider in the menu and sending that to the volume tracker I described here. And then the pause menu for the main game itself has this little toggle check for if press P, toggle the pause state, and then you have these pause and resume functions which enable or disable the UI and stop or restart the passage of time. The last script of them all is Game Manager, so this is just sort of a big catch-all for general stuff. This one handles the timer, so here we've got time remaining minus equals delta time, so that is every frame deducting the amount of time between this frame and the last from the timer, and then when that runs out, it triggers this game end state, which cuts out all of the extraneous UI elements like the timer, and zooms the camera back so that you're able to see the picture that you've drawn within the little frame itself. Overall, I think I did quite well, but there's also some stuff I could improve on. I think that my interpretation of the theme was quite interesting and cute. You know, you're a human being given a tool that doesn't really seem like it was designed to be intuitive for human hands, and you're forced to exercise your creativity in making something that looks a little bit wonky but kind of cool and funny at the same time, perhaps. I think that absolutely the thing that could have used the biggest touch up is the visuals. You know, it's all still very rudimentary and default, and also I could have definitely benefited from adding more animation to the project. The only place it exists right now is this little effect on the ball, where it swirls around like this and then transitions to its droplet form, which it's a bit too subtle. It doesn't really show up enough in normal gameplay. So I could have added some more animation. And also the other thing is that there is some kind of lingering movement wonkiness. If you fling the thing around too fast, you can kind of cause the thing to break and make the line go all wonky. If you find yourself interested in making sort of more abstract art, as it were. But yeah, generally I think I was quite successful. I've got like a decent base to expand upon here, and I think it's a good project.